Welcome to our channel. We're Heather and Trey, and we enjoy camping and overland adventures in the western U.S. Our favorite adventure vehicle is our 1988 Jeep Comanche. Follow along as we explore, hike, and camp out west. The Lost Coast is the wildest and least accessible stretch of California's coastline. It's bordered by the peaks of the King Range, black sand beaches, tide pools, and sea stacks. It's named for its remoteness. It's the longest section of undeveloped coastline in the continental U.S. We made it to Windy Point, and it's certainly windy. We're gonna have lunch inside just because it's so windy. And we're debating whether or not we're gonna hike this trail. There's a really cool lighthouse down there. We've been on this trail before, but the wind is really awful. So we'll think about it while we eat lunch and let you know. So we decided we're gonna go for it. We'll take you along. The most spectacular section of the Lost Coast is the 25-mile stretch called the Lost Coast National Recreation Trail. You can access this area by hiking and backpacking, and this trail is on my bucket list, but today we just did a short section to the Punta Gorda Lighthouse. The Punta Gorda Lighthouse went into operation in 1912. Construction materials arrived by schooner, and once they were on shore, they were dragged by horse-drawn sleds. The station included a fog signal building, a barn, 3 substantial dwellings with storage sheds, and a blacksmith and carpenter shop. Getting supplies required an 11-mile journey by horseback to the small town of Petrolia. They just recently completed a renovation project on this lighthouse. As you can tell, the wind can be really brutal on this part of the coast. And on today's trip, some of the trail was pretty muddy. Although rattlesnakes can be found in this area, this was just a western garter snake.
Here we go, back across the water. Oh, it's cold. That's fast. I made it. The wind almost blew me over. Here comes Trey.
This time of year, be prepared for water crossings.
Now back up, about a half a mile. All right, we made it back to the truck. It's so windy. That's, I guess, why they call it Windy Point here. We're gonna go try and find camp. We found a spot to camp. It's a nice little spot in the trees here. A little bit windy, but nothing like it was down closer to the ocean. And I've got a couple things to help keep me warm tonight. I got a new 12-volt electric blanket. Before I was using a heating pad that was not 12 volt, and with the Blue Eddy it would make the fan run on this, so it was really loud when the fan would kick on, and it just sucked a lot of power. So we're going to try the 12 volt, doesn't make the fan go on, and it should keep me nice and warm.
That didn't break the real Jeep.
Oh, out of commission. It was fun while it lasted. Tonight I am making chicken piccata. I've got some really thin chicken breasts that I just seasoned with Montreal steak seasoning and a little bit of flour. We're going to have it with gnocchi and some asparagus from our garden. Of course, we've got the lemon, the garlic, the broth, and the capers.
After dinner, we had a visit from some of the locals.
Tonight we're having the newly released Alchemy Distillery rye whiskey.
I'm on Burgundy.
And it's fitting because this rye was grown just a few miles from where we are right now. And pro tip for ice, if you bring an insulated mug or thermos and keep it in your cooler, you'll have ice for a few days.
Every motherfucking time.
Double cardin. I almost said CV Shaft. You would have thrown something at me.
No, it's a very common thing, but
We hung out around the campfire listening to podcasts and then ventured out to see the sunset. Later that evening, we had more camp visitors.
Good morning. We had a nice night's sleep here. The wind didn't affect the tent, so that was nice. And my electric blanket was awesome. So I'll link below so you can get one for yourself because they're really great. And I'm going to make a little breakfast, a special breakfast, and then we'll probably hit the road.
Before we got started on breakfast, we decided to put the tent away because the fog was rolling in and it was making a lot of moisture in the trees and making everything really wet.
We have some subscriber friends, Colin and Linda, that have a tradition of peanut butter pancakes. I thought that sounded really good, so I'm going to attempt to make peanut butter pancakes today in their honor. And I forgot to ask them if they mix the peanut butter in the pancake batter, if they put the peanut butter on top, but we're going to put the peanut butter on top.
First pancake never comes out.
This one's really, I don't know what to do. Take two. This is not working. So we're going to try the cast iron pan. I don't know if you can see this really heavy fog blowing in, but it's making all this moisture in the trees and it's dripping all over us into our pancake pan and everything.
Making an oil splatter.
I don't know if this is going to work. Trey had to take over pancake duty because I got frustrated. He gave up.
I don't know how to flip this with this tiny spatula. It doesn't work.
As good as they're going to
We
get.
need a new spatula if we're going to do pancakes.
That's sort of a pancake.
Pancakes are getting smaller and smaller.
Ooh, that was a good one. It's really getting drippy. All right, so here they are. Sorry, Colin and Linda, we didn't do your recipe justice, but we have peanut butter and banana pancakes. and a side of bacon. So those beautiful views of the truck coming up the hill with the ocean behind it yesterday, we're really glad we did that hike yesterday too, because this is the view today. Pretty socked in. Can't see the ocean or anything. We made it to Humboldt-Redwood State Park, and we just stopped to stretch our legs a little bit. Part of the reason we wanted to do this trip was because Northern California had so many storms and earthquakes over the winter that a lot of the roads were closed. And I've hated to be in here when all this came down. Yikes. A lot of trees fell, some of the asphalt roads buckled, but it seems like they've got all the roads cleared and everything's open, which is nice because this is one of our favorite areas to explore.
The end of December into January, we experienced a series of earthquakes as high as 6.4 magnitude, followed by more than 20 aftershocks. And this caused a landslide approximately 90 acres in size, and they had to wait for the landslide to stop moving before they did repairs to the road. There are an astonishing number of redwood trees down, but repairs have been made and the road is now open. Thank you for coming along. Be sure to subscribe to see more adventures out west.